going on, everyone? Welcome into the FantasyPros YouTube channel. My name is Kyle Yates. I'll be with you for the next hour answering your start-sit questions on what is a crazy week for fantasy football. Before we get started, though, we've got a couple things that we need to go over. One of them, first, right off the bat, guys, is if you are watching this and you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please take 2 seconds. It's right down here at the bottom of your screen. Just hit that subscribe button, helps us out in a huge way. Also hit the like button on this video, helps us out in a huge way as well. And then as a reminder, you can find and follow me on Twitter at KyleYNFL. One of the main things that we have to talk about came out this morning, and it has been the majority of my morning trying to sort through and figure out what the heck we're going to do. The Broncos and Patriots game has been moved from Monday night, tomorrow night, to next Sunday. So this is now the Broncos and Patriots bye week. And then moving forward, and they will play next week, though. Okay, so as we look at this game, obviously the obvious parts of this are get the Broncos and Patriots players out of your lineup. Of course, they have no part. If you play them, you're going to get zeros. So make sure that they're out of your lineup. This is a tough week, though, because last week we had the Patriots and we had the Titans and Steelers, and they were on a bye week, right? And those were the only teams. So now this week we have 4 teams on bye with the Lions, Packers, and now the Broncos and Patriots. So this is making some very, very tough decisions it's making it very tough for fantasy managers to try to navigate, to try to sort through. I'm going to do my best to help you sort through those before we get to kickoff here in just under an hour. And then we do have this hanging over our head that we don't know yet what the process is going to be for the Bills and Titans game on Tuesday night. So that was pushed back because the Titans are still dealing with the outbreak in their locker room. A positive test came back today, which has shut down the facility temporarily as they are doing contact tracing. Here's the thing, though, and this gives me a little bit of hope for them actually playing on Tuesday night, is that it was a coach. It was a Titans coach who does not have a ton of contact with the players. So looking at this, I think you can say as long as they can do the contact tracing and they get that information back, where then they can say, okay, we know that he didn't come into contact with specific players and we test those players and they're negative, then they can move forward with the game on Tuesday. However, it makes it very difficult for fantasy managers right now who have to make that decision. For me, I have Josh Allen in a couple of places. I have, obviously, Jonnu Smith everywhere. So there are these implications here where if you are in a league that your commissioner is not willing to roll out the solution of implementing backups, so before the games kick off here, you can list, what we're doing in several leagues that I'm in, is we can list the backups that we want to have the commissioner change the point totals for. So in a dynasty league, I'm sitting Zach Ertz this week. I've been playing him up to this point. It just hasn't worked out. In this league, I also have Jonnu Smith. So what I'm doing now is I'm leaving Jonnu Smith in my starting lineup, but I have told our commissioner that I want the backup points for Zach Ertz if this game does get canceled. And here's the reason why this is a good solution, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because we got a lot to get to. The reason why this is a good solution is it's different than if a player was going into a Monday night game questionable. Okay, so where fantasy managers might have to make that decision typically, and a perfect example of that this week is Michael Thomas, right? But yet this is an entire team. This is an entire team that is questionable. And so at that point, if you have on a roster, you have Ryan Tannehill, Jonnu Smith, and Derrick Henry, you walked out of your draft with that stack, now it's an automatic L. If you leave those players in your lineup and then they don't play that game, well, now it's an automatic loss for you this week. So the creative solution here is, and a lot of leagues are implementing this, is to do this solution with the backups, to list the backups that you want the point totals for. Commissioners on essentially every platform can go back in and they can change the point totals and adjust the scores to reflect that backup player. So that's the solution there for those. We're waiting to hear news. We actually might hear news on this during this live stream about the Bills and Titans game. So we'll stay tuned for that. But otherwise, it's just a very fluid situation, and it's what the NFL has been dealing with all season long, and what it's going to look like moving forward. So stay fluid. But ultimately, guys, this is a chaotic situation. It's stressing me out for sure because I have these players and I'm having to make some difficult decisions, but yet keep it in a perspective that we are about to sit down and we are about to enjoy several games of football happening at 1 o'clock. And we have the afternoon games. We have Sunday Night Football. We have these games today. Like, enjoy them, right? Like, just kind of put this in the back of your mind right now, this situation going on, and let's just enjoy football and actually enjoy the fact that we have it on the TV, okay? So just put this into the back of your mind. I'm going to roll through the ins and outs here, the players who have been declared out, the players who are expected to play, just to make sure that you're up to date on that, and then we are going to get rolling through your questions. Again, I'm going to be here right up until kickoff to make sure that we get to as many questions as we can, okay? So looking at the ruled out, we have 2 Philadelphia wide receivers, shocker, that are ruled out. That's Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson, both of them ruled out this week. Alshon looked like he was trending in the right direction to come back, but is actually out with an illness, not COVID-19 related. So he is out for this week. I do expect him to be back on the field next week, though. Sam Darnold, the New York Jets quarterback, he is out. We have Joe Flacco. Should be fun. Brashad Perryman, of course, the wide receiver for the New York Jets. You haven't been playing him at all this year because he hasn't been healthy. He's out. Julio Jones, this is the big one that we got news about 30 minutes ago. Julio Jones is out this week. This bumps up Calvin Ridley. Obviously, he was still as a top 10 option for you this week, but it bumps up Russell Gage into a back-end wide receiver 3 for me. And then Olamide Zaccheaus is the next man up. He is someone that you can roll out there as a flex option. Nothing more than that. You can't rely on him. But if you are dealing with these question marks of, do I play Cole Beasley or do I play Olamide Zaccheaus, it might be wise to just plug in Olamide Zaccheaus if your commissioner is not allowing you to do the backup points. Drew Lock, Noah Fant, KJ Hamler, obviously all out of your lineup because of the bye week, but they were dealing with their own injuries. Jordan Akins, the tight end for Houston, he is out. Bryan Edwards, wide receiver for Las Vegas, he is out of your lineup. Julian Edelman, obviously with the New England game. Alan Lazard, of course, he's been ruled out. Michael Pittman Jr., Jalen Reagor, Sony Michel with New England. Tevin Coleman, still out. Dallas Goedert, out. Nick Chubb, obviously. Austin Eckler, they're going to be out for a few weeks. Christian McCaffrey, it looks like he might be aiming to come back next week. So this could be your last week that you're actually relying on Mike Davis. And then Sterling Shepard, wide receiver for New York Giants. And then Cam Newton there was a possibility that he could actually play this game if it were to happen this week with his COVID-19 situation. But yet that looks like obviously it's going to be postponed a week. So we could see him back on the field next week, which is good news. Not expected to play Corey Davis. But then that's also the situation there with the Bills and Titans. But Corey Davis landed on the COVID-19 reserve list, so he's not someone that you should be plugging into your lineup regardless. Expected to play Marquise Brown. He is good to go. Mark Andrews, good to go. Lamar Jackson, good to go. John Brown, this is the interesting one here. John Brown, I think, is expected to play. He's expected to suit up, but yet he's been dealing with a calf injury. If you plug him into your lineup, there is always the possibility that he aggravates that calf injury during the game. And so that would be something that I would be lowering him down my rankings if you are expecting him to play. So I would look at him as something like a flex play. That would kind of put Cole Beasley in that same territory too. Joe Mixon he popped up on the injury report again this week with a shin injury. He's good to go and should assume his full workload. Tough matchup, but you can still roll him out there as a top 12 option. Henry Ruggs, wide receiver for Las Vegas, he will be going. Flex option. We'll talk. I'm sure people will have questions about him, but he's a flex option for you this week. Not a great matchup. Chris Hogan, the wide receiver for the New York Jets. You shouldn't be looking at him for fantasy football. Deebo Samuel and Raheem Mostert are expected to suit up. Raheem Mostert moves up to RB20 in my rankings. You can roll him out as a low-end RB2. And then Deebo Samuel as a low-end wide receiver 3 flex play, okay? And then A.J. Brown, the wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. If that game happens, you can expect him to play based on the estimated practice reports of being limited. However, you can't expect like what you would normally expect from A.J. Brown as a low-end wide receiver 2 or anything like that. He's a wide receiver 3. We just don't know what his status is coming off of this injury, how healthy he is. Is he going to play his full allotment of snaps? Game time decisions later today. Zach Moss, the running back for the Buffalo Bills, limited in practice all week, I believe. So this isn't someone this was what he did last week and then was a surprise inactive right at game time. So Devin Singletary belongs in your lineup as an RB2. Mike Williams, even if he plays, he's not someone that you should be looking at. Michael Thomas, this is the big one. Michael Thomas is a game time decision for tomorrow. He was upgraded to questionable moving into, and there were rumors that he was close to playing last week. So as of right now, I expect him to play. Obviously, you have to, because it's the Monday night game, you have to make adjustments. If you are going to rely on Michael Thomas and someone dropped Emmanuel Sanders or someone dropped Traquan Smith for some reason on your waiver wire, that would be a good backup plan here to make sure that you have that insurance. If you don't want to play that waiting game, then I totally understand that. Michael Thomas lands at wide receiver 22 in my rankings, somewhere around there. So just to kind of split that gap of if he plays, he's a solid wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside. That's kind of where you need to be looking at him. I would personally be rolling the dice and playing and waiting for Michael Thomas. I think he plays. Jared Cook, game time decision as well. Even if he does play, he's not someone that you should be trusting with his status here. So with the injury question marks, okay? All right, let's move on to your questions. Let's get rolling through these. In a standard league, Golden Tate at the Cowboys or Russell Gage versus the Panthers. I will go with Russell Gage here. I expect it's not a better matchup, but I expect Matt Ryan to bounce back a little bit here. He has been struggling so far the past couple weeks, but even without Julio in this game, I expect the Falcons offense to be able to move the ball against the Panthers defense. I think Russell Gage can return low-end wide receiver 3 value. In a full PPR league, that would be something that I would consider Golden Tate, but in a standard league, Golden Tate's not doing anything. So even in a plus matchup. So I'm going to go with Russell Gage there. Daniel asks, Deebo Samuel or Jarvis Landry? I am personally going to go with Jarvis Landry. I think he has it's a tough matchup against the Indianapolis Colts defense, but I think he has a safer floor. Deebo, just, again, coming off the injury, has a very wide range of outcomes. We just don't know. I want to wait one more week before I plug in Deebo Samuel over someone like Jarvis Landry. Michael asks, AJ Green to the bench? Yeah, it depends on who you have, and obviously the other games being canceled and postponed this week in the games on bye obviously play a role into that, but AJ Green, if you have a better option, AJ Green's outside my top 50 wide receivers this week, guys. So it's a very tough matchup, and he looks to be the third, maybe even fourth receiving option on this team now. So not excited about plugging in AJ Green in a tough matchup. Alan asks, Devontae Freeman or Mark Ingram? Devontae Freeman, if I need a safer floor, I can plug in Devontae Freeman and know that he's going to get me 8 points in a half PPR format because he's going to be involved in the receiving game. It's a fine matchup for him, too, on the ground against the Dallas Cowboys run defense. Mark Ingram has an enormous ceiling in this matchup. However, he also comes with a very low floor. What happens if he doesn't score? So I just think that I would, if I need the upside play, I'll go with Mark Ingram. These guys are back-to-back in my rankings. I have, let me pull this up, guys. And again, anytime that I talk about my rankings, it is in half PPR formats here. I have Devontae Freeman at 27, and I have Mark Ingram at 26. Okay, so I think that if you want the upside play, go with Mark Ingram. If you need the safe floor, go with Devontae Freeman. Full PPR, Greg Ward, Jonnu Smith, or Olamide Zaccheaus. I'm going to take Greg Ward here, looking at his opportunity this week with no Alshon Jeffrey, no Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz struggling. I think that Greg Ward is going to be a safety blanket for Carson Wentz over the middle of the field. He's still involved in this offense. He didn't score last week, but he presented a safe floor. So in a full PPR, I'm going to take him over Jonnu Smith because we just don't know about the game. So I'm going to plug in Greg Ward there. Olamide Zaccheaus is a little bit further down in my rankings. I have Greg Ward inside my top 36 wide receivers on the week. I like him as a play this week. Fernando Dearness, Johnson, Mark Ingram, or Myles Gaskin. Pick two. It's going to be Mark Ingram and Myles Gaskin there. I've talked about Dearness Johnson this week, saying that I want to wait on him a week before I plug him into my lineup. He's nothing more than an RB4 this week. You might be forced into playing him. Again, we've talked about with the injuries, with the bye weeks, like you might be forced into playing him, but in this matchup, I'm not excited against the Indianapolis Colts defense to plug in Dearness Johnson week 1. Okay, so I want to wait, see what his workload looks like. So given those choices, I'll go with Mark Ingram and Myles Gaskin. Mark Ingram or Latavius Murray. I'm going to go close. I'm going to go Latavius Murray here. Looking at his workload in this game, I think that based on the other options, I have Latavius Murray at 24 in my rankings, guys. I know that is pretty aggressive, but he's getting the work, and he's getting the goal line carries too. We saw him score twice last week, so tough matchup, but yeah, I think he sees enough work. As far as a workload, he sees more than Mark Ingram, and he has just as good of a chance to score. So I'm going to go with Latavius Murray there. Let's go with redraft PPR league, Devin Singletary or J.K. Dobbins. Devin Singletary by far, especially if Zach Moss doesn't play. Will Michael Thomas play? I talked about this a little bit earlier. So looking at Michael Thomas, I expect him to play, upgraded to questionable. Again, was close to playing last week. So I think we can expect him to play, but it's a decision that you have to make for your lineup on a case-by-case scenario. I can't give this overarching, just like decree to say start Michael Thomas, because it depends on the other options that you have on your roster. Okay, so I expect him to play. If that is the case, then I'm plugging him into my lineup, but it depends on who I have above him on my roster. Okay, AJ Brown, T Higgins, or Devontae Freeman. AJ Brown in a half PPR. AJ Brown, T Higgins, or Devontae Freeman. AJ Brown comes with the concerns of the game being canceled, so I'm not excited about him. Even if he does play, I'm looking at him as a wide receiver 3. T Higgins or Devontae Freeman. I actually might go Devontae Freeman here. T Higgins is going to match up against Marcus Peters, so I have T Higgins outside my top 40 receivers on the week. Not excited about him this week, but yet Devontae Freeman, good matchup, should be involved in the receiving game. I might go Devontae Freeman there. AJ Brown or Marquise Brown. It's going to be Marquise Brown there for me. David Gallagher, need 2, non-PPR, Michael Thomas, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, and Stephon Diggs. Diggs, if he plays, Diggs is in a fantastic opportunity. I have him as a top 5 receiver on the week. Like, he is just going to be a smash play. However, he comes with the concerns, and Michael Thomas does as well. So DJ Moore is going to be a solid wide receiver 2 for you this week in this matchup. I expect Teddy Bridgewater to have a nice game. Deontay Johnson, I expect to have a nice game too. I have him at 24 in my wide receiver rankings right now because of the matchup against Darius Slay. So downgrading him a little bit there, but yet if we didn't have the concerns about Michael Thomas's health and Stephon Diggs in the game, then I would be absolutely saying start Michael Thomas and Stephon Diggs. However, with playing it safe, I think you might want to go DJ Moore and Deontay Johnson. And of course, if your commissioner is allowing that, where you can still start Stephon Diggs and then claim one of those as a backup of DJ Moore or Deontay Johnson, then I think or even Michael Thomas, then I think you should do that. I think you should still start Stephon Diggs, but outside of that, I would probably be playing it safe this week, and I would go with DJ Moore and Deontay Johnson. Jose Woods or Fuller in full PPR. I will go. Both of these guys are outside my top 24 on the week, I believe. I have Robert Woods at 28, then I have Will Fuller at, I have Will Fuller at 21. So plus matchup here, he should be involved in the receiving game. I don't know if he comes with as high of a ceiling, he does. He comes with an extremely high ceiling every single week, but then comes with a very low floor. So I'll go with Will Fuller there over Robert Woods. I just don't think that LA is going to have to throw the ball a ton in this matchup to win. And so if that's the case, then I don't think Robert Woods has a very high ceiling. I'll take the ceiling player there with Will Fuller. Brandon asked Myles Gaskin or Dalton Schultz. And I lost the question. Hold on. Scrolling up, trying to find it. Can't find it. Myles Gaskin or Dalton Schultz, I believe, was the question there. So in that situation, I'm going to go with Dalton Schultz. I don't expect him to have a huge game. It's all going to come down to if he finds the end zone, because I don't think Dallas is going to have to throw the ball a ton in this one. Okay, so I don't think, again, not over 50 times like Dak is averaging so far this season. So if that's the case, then I will still plug. I don't think he comes with a high ceiling, but I'll still plug in Dalton Schultz over Myles Gaskin. At least he has a safe floor. Full PPR, who should I start as my flex? Jamison Crowder, Mike Davis, or Todd Gurley? That's close. Jamison Crowder isn't in consideration. It's between Mike Davis and Todd Gurley. Fantastic matchups in this game. I'm going to lean into my rankings. I believe that I have Mike Davis, especially in a full PPR. That's going to split it. Todd Gurley's not involved in the receiving game. He can score multiple times, but Mike Davis comes with a safer floor. I have Mike Davis at 10. I have Todd Gurley at 14, so I will play Mike Davis. Half PPR flex, wide receiver 3, John Brown or Jamison Crowder. John Brown comes with not only the game concerns, but then also the injury concerns. So I'm going to take Jamison Crowder there. Should return, see enough volume to be a solid wide receiver 3 for you. Standard league starting Tyreek Hill, Deontay Johnson, flex Moss, Swift, or T. Higgins, or pick up Shenault off of waivers. DeAndre Swift isn't playing this week. Zach Moss might not play this week. T. Higgins, I have outside my top 40, so I would personally drop DeAndre Swift and pick up Laviska Shenault, and I would plug him in. I have Laviska Shenault at 33, 34. In my wide receiver rankings this week, love the matchup for him. Should have a fine game. Gesicki Gesicki or Ian Thomas or Kyle Rudolph. I'm still going to go Gesicki here, but I'm not expecting great things. Ian Thomas against the Atlanta Falcons could find the end zone, but you're not relying on his target volume at all. Kyle Rudolph is not involved in this offense whatsoever. So I think Gesicki is the safest play, and that doesn't feel great to say. So not excited about any of those options, but I would go Gesicki in that situation. Standard league, DJ Moore or Robert Woods. In a standard league, I'll still go... No, in a standard league, I'm going to go Robert Woods there. If it was a half PPR or full, I would go DJ Moore. David Rosenberg, CeeDee Lamb, or Robert Woods. In full PPR, I will go with CeeDee Lamb there. Again, I talked about it with Dalton Schultz. I don't think he comes with an extremely high ceiling this week. It's going to come down to whether he finds the end zone or not. But I think that CeeDee is presenting a safe enough floor every single week. He's involved in this offense. I think he's going to easily return 5 for 50, right? Like 5 receptions, 50 yards. I think that's his floor. And then he can come with a higher ceiling if he finds the end zone. With Robert Woods, I love the player, but yet in this game, I don't expect LA to be throwing the ball a ton. So I don't think he comes with the safer floor that CeeDee Lamb does. Le'Veon Bell or Myles Gaskin. In that situation, I will go with Le'Veon Bell. Eric asks, real deep here, start Zacchaeus or Brandon Cooks. I will start Olamide Zacchaeus in that situation. I don't want to trust Brandon Cooks this week after what he did last week. He could easily, he's running a ton of routes. He's being involved. And with Bill O'Brien out, we could see, by the way, Bill O'Brien being let go, seems like that was 3 weeks ago. I can't believe that this is the first game that Houston's going to be playing without Bill O'Brien. It seems like it was 3 weeks ago. I will start Olamide Zacchaeus, though, in that situation. Justin Jefferson or DJ Chark or OBJ in full PPR. All of these guys are solid wide receiver 2s for me. All of them come with, or Justin Jefferson and DJ Chark come with huge upside. I don't think OBJ in this matchup comes with huge upside like he did last week. Okay, so in this situation, all these guys are like essentially back-to-back in my rankings. Let me check this out. So I've got DJ Chark at 11, I have OBJ at 14, and then I have Justin Jefferson at 16. So I would personally be playing DJ Chark. However, I've said this before, when I have players that are in this same tier in my rankings, I will go with my gut, and then I will plug him into my lineup, and I will not second guess it. Because if you sit there and you second guess which player in the same tier is going to have the better game, you're deciding between fractions of points. Okay, so I will go DJ Chark because I like the matchup for him. Justin Jefferson could easily just go off in this game. Very high over-under, but OBJ in this matchup against Indianapolis, I think he has a safe floor. But yeah, I don't think he comes with the upside that he had last week. Terry McLaurin or Will Fuller in that situation. Tough matchup against Jalen Ramsey most likely, but I will go with Terry McLaurin. PPR, Gaskin, Mostert, or Debo. I will go with Raheem Mostert there in that situation. Right. Brandon Cooks or Mecole Hardman. Normally the answer would be Brandon Cooks. I think I'm going to go Mecole Hardman here. I think he's seeing enough targets that he can be considered a reliable flex. These guys are both in the same tier of flex plays this week, right? Like Brandon Cooks is wide receiver 48 in my rankings. Mecole Hardman's probably just outside my top 50. So like I'm not excited about either one of them, but Mecole Hardman comes with a better upside. So I'll play that. I'll play Mecole Hardman. Latavius Murray or Landry or Akers and Odell. Murray or Landry or Akers. Okay, so it's a two-part. Murray or Landry or Akers. I will go with Latavius Murray in that situation. And then Odell or Terry in a different league, he asks. I will go with Odell in that situation. Cooper Kupp, Robbie Anderson, or Keenan Allen. Who do I sit? Cooper Kupp is going to be my answer here. All these guys I really like. I have Robbie Anderson just inside my top 12 for the week, guys. So I love Robbie Anderson this week in this matchup. Cooper Kupp, it's kind of the same thing of Robert Woods. Whichever one finds the end zone, you're going to be happy with. But yet, in a situation where Keenan Allen is being targeted a ridiculous amount, I don't think you can sit him. Robbie Anderson has incredible upside. And then Cooper Kupp, I don't think that LA is going to have to throw the ball a ton. So if he finds the end zone, he can certainly prove me wrong. These guys are all pretty close in my rankings, but I will sit Cooper Kupp there. Shelby asks, pick 2.5 PPR. Cooper Kupp, Terry McLaurin, Robbie Anderson, Mixon. Pick 2. Minshew or Bridgewater. So I'm assuming that those are 2 separate questions. I will go, for the quarterback, I'll go with Gardner Minshew. Although I have Minshew at 9 and Bridgewater at 11, I think. Gardner Minshew at 9, Teddy Bridgewater at 12. So it's pretty close, but I'll play Minshew there. And then as far as pick 2, between those other options, Cooper Kupp, Terry McLaurin, Robbie Anderson, and Mixon, I'll go Robbie Anderson and Mixon in that situation. Standard, sit Diggs or for T.Y. Hilton. Diggs comes with a huge concerns, but even with that in mind, I think he's still going to be better than T.Y. Hilton. Sit Diggs for T.Y. Hilton or Emmanuel Sanders or Russell Gage. If your commissioner is not allowing you to do the backups replacement, then none of these guys I'm super excited about, but the best option would be Gage. I hope that within the next 30 minutes we get staying updated, seeing if I got an update. I hope within the next 30 minutes we get clarity on the Buffalo and Tennessee game. If not, then I will pull Diggs from my lineup for Russell Gage. It's going to feel gross, but if your commissioner is not allowing you to do the backup replacements, then you got to play it safe. And I'll go with Russell Gage in that situation. Joe Burrow or Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins for sure in this game. Love the matchup. Very, very high over-under. Vegas is expecting points to go up on the board in this one, and it's the best matchup in all fantasy football for opposing wide receivers. Adam Thielen is going to go off in this game. Justin Jefferson should have a big game as well. Evan Engram, Jonnu Smith, or T. Higgins. It would easily be Jonnu Smith, but we have the concerns about the game, so I will go... Oh, this feels gross. I will say Evan Engram. Pick 2. Okay, perfect. Evan Engram and T. Higgins. All right, Shenault or Ward in a half-point PPR. I will go with Laviska Shenault there, but both of those guys are pretty close in my rankings. I have Shenault at 30, and I have Russell Gage at 32. So I'm fine with either one of them, but I would be starting Laviska Shenault over Greg Ward. Half PPR, Justin Jackson, T. Higgins, or Malcolm Brown in my flex. In that situation, I will play T. Higgins. Malcolm Brown and Justin Jackson could easily outscore T. Higgins, but they come with huge question marks. We don't know what the role is going to be for Justin Jackson in this offense. I want to wait a week before I find that out, before I roll him into my lineup. And then Malcolm Brown, we just don't know with Cam Akers. Is Cam Akers suddenly going to be the second running back? Is Cam Akers going to be the first running back? This backfield is a mess to try and predict from a fantasy perspective. So Malcolm Brown is outside my top 36 running backs. I think T. Higgins, I'm not excited about the matchup at all, but in comparison with those other 2 options, I will take T. Higgins. Half PPR, Devontae Freeman or Brandon Ayuk. That's going to be pretty easily Devontae Freeman here for me. Brandon Ayuk obviously showed an incredible play last week, but yet only saw, I think, 5 targets, reeled in 2 of them. So from his work in the receiving game, that's what you need to rely on for fantasy. You can't rely on Brandon Ayuk breaking away 1 carry for 38 yards, hurdling a defender every single week and finding the end zone. So if he didn't have that big play, if he got tackled, on his first attempt, broke a couple tackles, I'll give him that. But yet, as far as reliability, if he gets tackled there, it's a one rush for 10 yards. And it doesn't help you at all. He finishes outside the top 60 wide receivers if that's the case. So as far as reliability in that instance, I will take Devontae Freeman. Devontae Freeman doesn't come with a very high ceiling because of the offense, but yet he comes with a safer floor. So I will go with Devontae Freeman. Kenyon Drake, Deontay Johnson, OBJ, or DJ Chark. Pick 2 for the flex in a half PPR. It's going to be Deontay Johnson and it's going to be OBJ and DJ Chark for me. I talked about that. I have OBJ at 14, DJ Chark at 11. Kenyon Drake, we can't trust him right now over some of those other options. Deontay Johnson, tough matchup, having about 24 in my wide receiver rankings today. Who would you rather have rest of season, Laviska Shenault or T. Higgins? I would personally rather have T. Higgins, but it's close. Laviska Shenault is showing a lot so far this season. He's looking great. Le'Veon Bell or Laviska Shenault? And a lot of Laviska Shenault questions. Le'Veon Bell or Laviska Shenault at the flex in a full PPR. In a full PPR, I will go with Le'Veon Bell. I expect Joe Flacco to be dumping the ball off frequently in this game. So I like the matchup here, too, for Le'Veon Bell coming off of IR. Should I start Thomas? Questionable for Monday. If not, Gage or Higgins. I talked about this earlier. I believe that you can start Michael Thomas. It comes with risk, of course, but yet I do think that he is trending in the right direction. So I think you can start Michael Thomas, but that's a decision that you have to make. I will, if you are not comfortable starting Michael Thomas, then I will personally start Russell Gage over T. Higgins. Half PPR, Myles Gaskin or David Johnson. David Johnson for me. Half PPR, start 2, Joshua Kelly, Brandon Ayuk, Henry Ruggs, and Myles Gaskin. Joshua Kelly for sure. And then if I need the big blow-up performance, if I need that upside, I'll go with Henry Ruggs. If I need the safe floor too, if I know that I need my guaranteed volume at the running back position, I will go with Myles Gaskin there. Brandon Ayuk's a little bit further down my rankings. Minshew or Breeze, those guys are super close. I think it's going to be Minshew, but I'm double checking. Yep, Minshew at 9, Breeze at 11. Tyler Boyd versus Antonio Gibson in half PPR. Tough matchups for both of them. I think that I'm going to lean into Tyler Boyd here, though. That'll be a slight difference, but I'll go with Tyler Boyd. Need 2 in half PPR. Chad asks, Justin Jackson, Greg Ward, and Keelan Cole. I'm going to go with Greg Ward and Keelan Cole here. Again, I talked about Justin Jackson. I just want to wait a week before I roll him into my lineup. Henderson or Chase Edmonds. Darrell Henderson. Chase Edmonds, if he finds the end zone, but that's it. You're betting on him finding the end zone. That's just not a good place that I want to be as my RB2. Darrell Henderson, I think that he's going to be involved, but the question is how much. So that's more than I can say for Chase Edmonds. So pick 2 in full PPR, CeeDee Lamb, Robert Woods, Tyler Boyd. It's going to be Tyler Boyd and CeeDee Lamb for me, actually. I will sit Robert Woods in that situation. Talked about it. You're hoping that Woods finds the end zone early because I don't think that the passing volume is necessarily going to be there for these receivers. Joshua Kelly or Raheem Mostert. I will go with Joshua Kelly, actually, in that situation. Raheem Mostert, of course, can break away a long touchdown, make me look foolish, but yet I don't think that he's going to see anywhere near the amount of work that Joshua Kelly is. So I want to lean into the workload rather than the betting on Raheem Mostert breaking away a long play. Start McKinnon today or Murray tomorrow to get more info if Derrick Henry plays. That's a great strategy. I actually really like that. So McKinnon with Raheem Mostert coming back, I think you can sit him. And then if not, then I can, and in that situation, then I'm perfectly fine plugging in Latavius Murray. I actually have Latavius Murray above Jerick McKinnon now in my weekly rankings. But then if we get more info that this Titans game is still on for Tuesday, then perfect. Take out Latavius Murray, plug in Derrick Henry. Love that strategy, Tom. Dalton Wheeler asks Chase Edmonds or Cam Akers. Not excited about either one of them, but I think you can start Chase Edmonds. Jeez. I'll let my rankings speak for me because I'm undecided here. Not excited about either one of those options, but again, that's where we are at with fantasy football right now. I'm going to go Chase Edmonds there. But again, not super excited. I'm hoping that he's involved in the receiving game to present a safe floor. Standard League, T. Higgins or Russell Gage. I will go with Russell Gage in that situation. T. Higgins or Deontay Johnson in half PPR. I will go with Deontay Johnson there. Zach Ertz or Jonnu Smith. Obviously, it would be Jonnu Smith, I think, if we had clarity on that game. We don't. So I will go with Zach Ertz. I want to play it safe. If your commissioner, again, I've talked about it several times, if your commissioner is not willing to do the backup replacements, then I will go with Zach Ertz and just play it safe. Chase Edmonds, a lot of Chase Edmonds questions, or Malcolm Brown. In that situation, I will go with Malcolm Brown. He has a higher ceiling, but again, it's not a high ceiling. That's all relative. David Rosenberg, CeeDee Lamb, or Robert Woods. I'll go CeeDee Lamb there. Start A.J. Brown or A.J. Green. I hate that this game has so many question marks. It would be A.J. Brown for me, but we just don't know if this game is going to happen or if he is even going to play. I expect him to. Estimated limited practices, but yet there's just so many question marks about this game. So I will go with A.J. Green there, but I'm not super excited about him. I'll play it safe, but I'm not excited about that at all. Lawrence asks Standard League, T.Y. Hilton, Brandon Ayuk, or John Brown. In that situation, I will go. John Brown he's expected to play if this game happens, but yet he comes with injury concerns. I just don't know if he's going to aggravate that calf injury. You can go to my Twitter profile, Kyle Y NFL, and you can see a video that someone posted. I wish I could remember off the top of my head who posted it. I would give them credit. But yet, I retweeted it, and it shows the video of John Brown aggravating this calf injury in practice the other day. So that's all it takes is that he lands, oddly on it, and he's out for the rest of the game. So I just don't want to rely on him. I'll go with the upside play of Brandon Ayuk over T.Y. Hilton. I don't think T.Y. Hilton, again, we shouldn't really be considering him for fantasy football at this point with what he's done so far this season, and Brandon Ayuk comes with a higher ceiling. Lower floor, but yet comes with a higher ceiling. T.Y. Hilton versus Traquan Smith in the flex and PPR. I will go with Traquan Smith there, even if Michael Thomas plays. Standard League, DJ Moore or Robert Woods. I think I answered this question earlier. Zacchaeus out-targeted Gage last week. Odds of that happening again. I don't think that it happens again. I think they're going to be pretty close. I have Gage above Zacchaeus in my ranking, so I don't think that happens again, Taylor, but it's a concern. It's hanging over his head. So I have Gage as a low-end wide receiver 3, and then I have Zacchaeus as a flex play this week, and then Calvin Ridley as a top 10 option. Miles Sanders or Joe Mixon in a full PPR league. In that situation, I'll go with Joe Mixon. Not excited about the offense or the matchup here for Miles Sanders. Michael Thomas, Lamb or Robbie Anderson. I will go with Robbie Anderson. Even if Michael Thomas plays, I don't know his full health status. He might just be rolling out there. I don't think as a decoy, but he could be on a snap count. There's just a lot of concerns here. In CD Lamb, I talked about it with the offense in Dallas. I don't think they're going to have to throw the ball a ton this game. By the way, this is a Jason Garrett returning to Dallas game. But I will go with Robbie Anderson in that situation. Have him as a top 12 option this week. Love him in this matchup. McLaurin or Boyd in PPR. I will go with Terry McLaurin in that situation. In a full PPR, Myles Gaskin. I think I answered that one earlier. Devontae Freeman or Joshua Kelly. I will go with Joshua Kelly. Looking through a lot of duplicate questions, guys, so sorry about this. Just trying to make sure that we get to new ones. Standard League, Joshua Kelly or risk Singletary. Obviously, Singletary comes with the concerns that this game doesn't happen. I will play Joshua Kelly. I'll play Joshua Kelly in that situation. I actually think that he gets enough volume this week to be a low-end RB2, and he's going to get the goal line work. So I'll go with Joshua Kelly. Need 3 from Chark, Ridley, Lamb, and Cup. I will go with DJ Chark, Calvin Ridley, and Cooper Cup over CeeDee Lamb there. I'll sit CeeDee Lamb. Half PPR pick 2, Darius Slayton, Michael Gallup, and Russell Gage. Picking 2, Darius Slayton. It's a great matchup, but you're betting on this Giants offense actually doing something. Daniel Jones is 2 touchdowns on the year, 5 interceptions, and again, that's not even taking into account the fumbles that he's lost this year. So I'm just not excited about this offense at all. If I am starting Darius Slayton, I'm starting him as a wide receiver 3 with a very wide range of outcomes. So I'm not confident in starting Darius Slayton. Michael Gallup, on the other side of the ball, I don't expect them to throw the ball a ton. So at that point, you're hoping that Gallup finds the end zone early. Russell Gage I think Russell Gage is a lock for me because I think that he's going to see enough volume. I think he bounces back from last week. It's between Darius Slayton and Michael Gallup there, so I'm going to let my ranking speak for me. Pulling it up right now. Yeah, I'm going to go with Darius Slayton. I think that he comes with it. Darius Slayton at 28 for me, Michael Gallup at 35. So I'll go with Slayton there. Slayton and Gage, excuse me. Okay, so Mark Ingram or Le'Veon Bell in a standard league. I don't think that Le'Veon Bell finds the end zone in this one. He comes with a safer floor from his involvement in the receiving game. So Le'Veon Bell would be the option there for me in a half PPR, full PPR league. In a standard league, I'm going to go with Mark Ingram. Non-PPR, Kenyon Drake, Joshua Kelly, or Darrell Henderson. I'm going to go with Joshua Kelly. Standard pick 2, Robbie Anderson, Chark, and Gallup. Thanks from Australia. Awesome. I will go with Robbie Anderson and DJ Chark. Justin Jefferson or Darrell Henderson at the flex. Justin Jefferson pretty easily there for me. Love him in this matchup. Play Raheem Mostert or Kenyon Drake. I'm going to play Raheem Mostert over Kenyon Drake this week. Start McLaurin or Devontae Parker. I will go with Devontae Parker. Henderson or Chase Edmonds. I think I answered this question earlier. Evan Ingram or Dalton Schultz in full PPR. I'll go with Dalton Schultz. Half PPR, I have Gesicki. Should I avoid him? Yeah, if you can. It's all dependent upon who the other options that you have available to you are. So if you can avoid him, absolutely, please do. Excuse me, goodness. But yeah, I don't think that a lot of fantasy managers can. So yeah, I think that it's all dependent upon the other options that you have on your bench or your waiver wire. But personally, I would be playing Gesicki based on the options that I have, right? I have to roll out Gesicki this week. Robert Woods, Deontay Johnson in a full PPR, pick 2 of 3. Robert Woods, Deontay Johnson, Marquise Brown. I'll go with Deontay Johnson and Marquise Brown here because I think Deontay Johnson comes with a safe enough floor. We know that Pittsburgh's going to throw the ball. He comes a safe enough floor from a target's perspective. Tough matchup against Darius Slay, but I think that he can get enough targets to present that floor. Marquise Brown comes with a huge ceiling, right? Every single week comes with that huge ceiling. So I think that you can plug him in. Robert Woods, it would be between Robert Woods and Deontay Johnson, and I just think that Pittsburgh's going to throw the ball more than LA would. Deontay Johnson, Tyler Boyd, or risk it with Michael Thomas. Personally, I would be playing Michael Thomas. I think that he plays. However, I think that you can confidently pivot if you were, and especially in a full PPR, to Tyler Boyd. Boyd would get the nod there over Deontay Johnson. It's close, tough matchups for both of them, but I think that Michael Thomas, again, he lands at wide receiver 22 in my rankings. So, again, I'm projecting that he plays, but yet there's a wide range of outcomes. We don't know if he's going to play his full allotment of snaps. We don't know if Traquan Smith is going to be more involved in the offense than normal. But I think that you can still roll him into your lineup. But if not, then I'll go with Tyler Boyd. Okay, so I answered that question earlier. Matt Ryan or Teddy Bridgewater. I will go in that situation with Matt Ryan, but that is close. Let me pull this up. I have Matt Ryan at 9. No, I have him at 8, and then Teddy Bridgewater at 12. So I just think with Matt Ryan, even without Julio, I think that this offense bounces back. I think that he has a fine game. I'm going with Matt Ryan here. It's a great matchup for him. If it was a more difficult matchup for Matt Ryan, then I would be saying then I'd pivot to the other option. But in this matchup, you drafted Matt Ryan. He has the talent to be a top 5 option this week. I just think that you stay in the flames there and you start Matt Ryan, even though he hasn't looked great the past couple weeks. I totally get it. Le'Veon Bell or Laviska Shenault at the flex in full PPR. I'm going to go Le'Veon Bell there. Joshua Kelly or Raheem Mostert. I will go with Joshua Kelly slightly over Raheem Mostert. You need 3 in a full PPR. Shenault, Deontay Johnson, Antonio Gibson, Mark Andrews, and Justin Jefferson. Mark Andrews and Justin Jefferson for sure in my lineup. And then I will go with, actually, Antonio Gibson over Deontay Johnson and Laviska Shenault. I think that Gibson, tough matchup against the Rams run defense, but yet I think that with Kyle Allen, he could see some more involvement in the receiving game. So, especially in a PPR, I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson, Mark Andrews, and Justin Jefferson there. Antonio Gibson or Keenan Allen in the flex in a redraft league. I will go with Keenan Allen there. More guaranteed volume. CeeDee Lamb or Robert Woods. David, I answered that question earlier for you. Half PPR. Gus Edwards or Anthony McFarland in a deep league, and you're down Damian Harris. Gus Edwards, especially the Ravens have said they view him as their closer. And in this game against Cincinnati, they're going to go up big. So I think Gus Edwards can get you 8 carries. That's more than I can say for Anthony McFarland. John Brown or Jamison Crowder in the flex. I'll go Jamison Crowder there. I answered that question earlier. Deontay Johnson or Joshua Kelly in the flex. I'll go with Joshua Kelly there. That's close, though. Who would be a better start? Zach Ertz, Hunter Henry, or Dalton Schultz? Zach Ertz would be the obvious answer if this offense could move the ball. I think that Zach Ertz always has a potential to just turn around and suddenly see 12 targets and find the end zone if Carson Wentz would look at his way. But we've seen nothing this year to indicate that he can do that. Dalton Schultz, I don't think comes with as high of a ceiling, but yet this is where we're at in 2020. I think Dalton Schultz is the play here. That is just crazy to me, but yet I think you do roll with Dalton Schultz there. Big Ben or Gardner Minshew? I'm going to go with Gardner Minshew. Big Ben or Garoppolo in ESPN Standard? I will go with... Who do I have? I have Ben Roethlisberger at 15. I have Jimmy Garoppolo at 17. I like the matchup for Garoppolo, actually, against Miami. I liked him a little bit more than I expected to. McLaurin or Boyd in PPR? Terry McLaurin for me. Feel like I've answered every single one of these questions. Getting a ton of duplicates, guys. Sorry. Gibson or Bell in a PPR, and the Colts or Chiefs D. I will go with the Chiefs defense, and then I will go with Antonio Gibson. Michael Thomas or Sammy Watkins? I would go with Michael Thomas in that situation because I think that he plays. Gaskin, Mostert, or Debo Samuel in the flex. I've answered this one. Tyler Boyd or Russell Gage? I'll go with Tyler Boyd there. All right. Flex and a half PPR. Emmanuel Sanders, T. Higgins, or Justin Jackson? I will go with T. Higgins there. But again, not expecting anything more than a flex play. Mike Davis or Kenyon Drake in half PPR? I'll go with Mike Davis there. Ingram or Dearness Johnson in half PPR? I'll go with Ingram there. Play Mostert or Drake? I will go with Mostert there. Ridley and Ryan stack, or should I play Teddy Bridgewater instead of Ryan? I'm still going to go with Calvin Ridley and Matt Ryan. Deontay Johnson, Tyler Boyd, or OBJ? I will go with Odell Beckham Jr. Standard League, Chark or Fuller? I'm going to go with DJ Chark. Full PPR, the quarterback, Mahomes or Wilson? There are a lot of people that are swearing at you right now, just FYI, that you have to make this decision. I'll go with Russell Wilson over Mahomes, but goodness, they're both top 3 options this week. All right. John Brown or Jamison Crowder in the flex? I think I answered this one. I'll go with Jamison Crowder. I am going to keep going. Here we go. Right. Half PPR, Zacchaeus, Darrell Henderson, or Keelan Cole? Michael asks, in that situation, I will go with Keelan Cole, actually. I think that fine matchup, comes with a safe enough floor. He's seeing his 5 to 6 targets every single week. I know that he's not going to disappoint me like a Darrell Henderson could, or even Olamide Zacchaeus. If we see Calvin Ridley suddenly be the main option, take away a ton of the targets, and then Russell Gage bounce back too. I just think that Keelan Cole is a safer option to play. Deontay Johnson or DJ Moore? I'll go with DJ Moore in that situation. John Brown or A.J. Brown? Both of these guys obviously in the same game, so I will go with A.J. Brown over John Brown, but not excited about either one of them as anything more than a wide receiver 3 flex play. Juju or Miles Sanders in a full PPR? I will go with Juju Smith-Schuster. Half PPR, pick 2, Ryan asks, Devontae Parker or Juju and Antonio Gibson? I will go with Devontae Parker and Juju in that situation. I like Gibson, but I think that in that situation, I'll play the wide receivers of Devontae Parker and Juju. Devontae Parker, where'd my question go? Where did it go? You guys are lighting up the chat. This is amazing. I just completely lost that question. I scrolled down too far, and the chat went live again. Sorry, guys. Justin Herbert or Matt Ryan? Daniel asks, I will go with Matt Ryan in that situation. I have Justin Herbert as like a low-end quarterback too. Tough matchup for him. Full PPR, pick 2, Michael Thomas, David Johnson, DJ Chark. I will go with DJ Chark and David Johnson in that situation. No, I won't. I'll go with DJ Chark and Michael Thomas. Who would you go with, Kupp or Juju? I will go with Juju Smith-Schuster. Actually, hold on. Let me check my rankings. Cooper Kupp or Juju Smith-Schuster. I have Kupp at 17 and I have Juju at 19. I think Kupp finds the end zone in this one. I think that he gets the touchdown out of the 2 wide receivers of Woods in him. So I'll go with Cooper Kupp. But those guys are super close. I think I'll go with Cooper Kupp there. Boyd or Woods? I'll go with Tyler Boyd. Mostert or Watkins? I will go with Mostert. James Conner or Miles Sanders in full PPR? I will go with James Conner. Half PPR flex, Antonio Gibson, Tyler Boyd, or Deontay Johnson. Half PPR flex, Antonio Gibson, Tyler Boyd, or Deontay Johnson. I will go with Tyler Boyd. I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd there. All those guys are like, Antonio Gibson's a low-end running back 2 for me, Tyler Boyd a low-end wide receiver 2, and Deontay Johnson, same territory. So all those guys are kind of similar. I will go with Tyler Boyd there. Terry McLaurin or Justin Jefferson in full PPR. I have Terry McLaurin at 15, and I have Justin Jefferson at 16. So I think that Terry McLaurin, obviously, I'm going to play the matchup. I'll just say that. I'll play, if I'm torn between those two players, so I'm going to adjust them right now. I'm going to move Justin Jefferson up to 15, Terry McLaurin to 16. In that situation, I'm going to play Justin Jefferson because the matchup is a little bit better. I think that, obviously, it's the best matchup, and then Terry McLaurin has to deal with Jalen Ramsey. So I'll make sure to republish my rankings, make sure that gets updated. I will go with Justin Jefferson over Terry McLaurin. Mostert, Odell, or Woods. I will go with Odell in that situation. Full PPR, J.K. Dobbins or Dearness Johnson. Dearness Johnson, but not excited about either one of them. Is anything more than a low-end running back 4. Standard League, Miles Sanders or Kenny Drake. I'll go with Miles Sanders. Half point, Jamison Crowder or A.J. Brown. I'll go with Jamison Crowder. Russell Gage or Olamide Zaccheaus. I will go with Russell Gage. Gibson or Kelly. In PPR, you need the upside play. If you need the upside play, then go with Antonio Gibson. I think if you need the safe volume play, then I'll go with Joshua Kelly. Juju or Robbie Anderson in half PPR, I will go with Robbie Anderson. Love him this week. Pick up Dobbins and drop Henderson. No, I would hang on to Darrell Henderson. Watch Red Zone or Lunch with Grandma. You gotta watch Red Zone, man. Start full one in a full PPR league. Darrell Henderson or Latavius Murray. I will go with Latavius Murray there. Slayton or Kelly in a full PPR. I will go with Joshua Kelly. Moore or Mostert. In that situation, I will go with DJ Moore. I think that, and you, Ryan, you add there, the injury concern may limit his work, I fear. I don't think it's going to limit his work. He practiced in full, but again, it's more so looking at, you're betting on him breaking away a long play to be able to, make up that, to be able to finish as a top 15, top 12 option. So I think that looking at Mostert, he's in consideration, and I understand why you're asking the question, but DJ Moore in this matchup, I'm going to lean into him. Jimmy Garoppolo or Carson Wentz in that situation, I will play Jimmy Garoppolo. Henry Ruggs or Latavius Murray, I will play Latavius Murray. Standard League, James Conner or Jonathan Taylor. That's close. Actually, I have James Conner at 12. I have Jonathan Taylor at 13. So I will go with James Conner there. I think he's just seeing too much work. Kirk Cousins with Thielen or Danny Jones? It's Kirk Cousins. You were asking Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins. It's got to be Kirk Cousins. Crowder, Mostert, Slayton. I will go with Mostert in that situation. Higbee or Schultz. I will go with Dalton Schultz. Higbee, not seeing targets. You're betting on him finding the end zone. So he moves into the same category of like a Jimmy Graham, like touchdown or bust, tight end 2. So that's the way that we need to be looking at Tyler Higbee now because he's not seeing the targets. So I will go with Dalton Schultz. Raheem Mostert or Russell Gage. In that situation, I will go with Raheem Mostert. Full PPR, Jonathan Taylor or James Robinson at the flex. You got to start James Robinson this week. Love him in this matchup. Have him at running back 11 on the week in half PPR. He's involved in the receiving game a little bit more than Jonathan Taylor, so I think he can finish, even higher than that. Flex in a half PPR, Le'Veon Bell or Darius Slayton. I will go with Le'Veon Bell. I just don't trust this offense in New York. D. Johnson or Kenyon Drake. I'm assuming that that's David Johnson or Kenyon Drake, so I will go with David Johnson. Justin Jefferson or Robbie Anderson. I will play Robbie Anderson. Love them both this week, though. I'm fine with either one of them, but I personally would be playing Robbie Anderson. Full PPR, Jerick McKinnon, Le'Veon Bell, or wait for Singletary to hopefully play. I'll plug in Le'Veon Bell in that situation. Half PPR, Antonio Gibson or Devontae Parker. I will play Devontae Parker. David Njoku or Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper, but both are low-end tight end 2s. Justin Jefferson or Will Fuller. I will go with Justin Jefferson there. Full PPR, Deebo Samuel, Michael Gallup, Nyheim Hines, Latavius Murray. Pick one. I'll go with Latavius Murray, actually. I think that he, in a full PPR. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Latavius Murray. None of those other guys have guaranteed touches, right? And so I think Latavius Murray has that. I don't think that he comes with as high of a ceiling in a full PPR league as, Deebo. If he breaks away one big play, he's fully healthy, breaks away one big play, takes it to the house. Michael Gallup, of course, can always take a long touchdown. Nyheim Hines doesn't have a huge ceiling. So I think that, but Latavius Murray is the safer play. The Saints or the Cowboys defense, you should never be looking at the Cowboys defense, even though it is against the New York Giants and Daniel Jones. I'll play the Saints defense against rookie Justin Herbert, even though he has looked great. Malcolm Brown or Cam Akers, I'll play Malcolm Brown in that situation. Standard, Juju or CeeDee Lamb. I will go with Juju. We got 3 minutes left before kickoff. A.J. Brown or T. Higgins. I'll go with T. Higgins. T. Higgins, Hunter Renfrow, or... It's not a player. T. Higgins, Hunter Renfrow. I will go with Hunter Renfrow in that situation. I think that Derek Carr has to play catch-up in this game. Jerick McKinnon or Marquise Brown. I will go with Marquise Brown. John Brown or Russell Gage. I'll go with Russell Gage. Chark or McLaurin. I will go with DJ Chark. Hunter Henry or Robert Woods. I will go with Robert Woods in that situation. Drake, Mixon, Deontay Johnson, or DJ Chark. Pick 2 for the flex and a half PPR. I will go with Mixon and DJ Chark. Watkins versus Henderson. I will go with Watkins there. DJ Chark or CeeDee Lamb. I'll go with DJ Chark. Tyler Boyd or Le'Veon Bell. I'll go with Tyler Boyd. Juju or I think I answered that question. Higbee or Olsen. I'll go with, in a full PPR, I'll go with Greg Olsen. It's more guaranteed targets in a high-scoring affair. Justin Jefferson or Robert Woods. Answer that question. It's Justin Jefferson for me. Full PPR, Greg Ward or Devontae Freeman. I will go with Devontae Freeman. Full PPR, pick 3 out of 4. Gibson, Moore, McLaurin, or Fuller. I will go with McLaurin, Fuller, and Gibson. Yeah, I want the upside play with Fuller in that situation. Just a couple more because lineups are going to lock. Will Fuller or Jonathan Taylor in the half PPR flex? I will go with Jonathan Taylor in that situation. OBJ or Robert Woods? I will personally go with OBJ. Traquan Smith or T.Y. Hilton? I'll go Traquan Smith. Sammy Watkins versus Latavius Murray versus Henderson in a full PPR. I will go with Latavius Murray, and then it would be Sammy Watkins. I like him this week. We'll go 2 more questions here. Half PPR, DJ Chark or Terry McLaurin? DJ Chark. Devontae Freeman or T.Y. Hilton in the flex in a half PPR. I will go with Devontae Freeman. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We got to get to watching Red Zone. We got to get to watching our local games. We got football being kicked off here in any minute. Guys, thank you so much for joining me as we ran through some of the questions that you had and some of the ins and outs. And guys, just before you exit out here, hit the subscribe button, please. Helps us out in a huge way. Hit the like button on this video. And then, of course, guys, you can find and follow me on Twitter at KyleYNFL. Thank you so much for joining me today. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy watching some football. Talk to you soon.